Hi, I'm Amy Korenik. I'm a Sculpey brand ambassador. Welcome to the wonderful world of Liquid Sculpey. Liquid Sculpey is polymer clay in liquid form. It starts out as a liquid but bakes to a solid, lightweight piece in your home oven, which makes it perfect for jewelry making. It's also great for window clings, on canvases for home decor, and so much more. Today I'm going to show you how to make earrings from Liquid Sculpey. I'll show you 3 basic techniques: marbling, color blocking, and animal print, and then you can pick your favorite one to create your own Liquid Sculpey earrings. Let's take a look at what comes in the party pack. There's 10 silicone molds, 1 for each guest. There's a little baggie of toothpicks and earring findings, a stir stick for everyone to share, pliers that can be shared for jewelry assembly, and there's 9 bottles of Liquid Sculpey for the whole party. The first thing you need to do every time you use Liquid Sculpey is to stir it completely. What I like to do is take the cap completely off and then plunge my stir stick completely down to the bottom and make sure I'm really getting everything mixed together. This just helps all the ingredients incorporate so that it's ready to use. When I'm done, I always gently pull my tool out, and I try really hard to get most of that Liquid Sculpey right back in the bottle because I'd rather have it on hand for more craft making. So I'm pretty careful about getting it back in there. And then you can clean up your tools with paper towel. So easy. When you put the cap back on, you might notice that this is an adjustable cap. You can open it all the way up for mold filling, which we're going to do today, or you can open it halfway for more detailed work. A great tip for preparing for your party would be to mix all 9 colors up before your guests arrive. We will be using the Sculpey jewelry mold. What's great about this mold is that you can bake it right in your home oven. It's got posts already in place in each of the shapes, so there's no need to drill holes later for your jewelry. There's so many fun shapes to choose from. Pick the ones you like the best, and you'll notice that there are larger and smaller shapes. If you want to make large earrings, just fill and bake the mold twice. I will be using the smaller shapes for all of the techniques. First, let's take a look at making the marbled style earrings. For this pair of earrings, I chose peacock pearl and white, but you could pick any colors that you like that go good together. Pick the colors that make it your own. So I'm opening the bottle of white, and this has already been stirred. And my technique for filling with more than one color is I like to start with the color that I'm placing by the little post. And I kind of push on the post. I kind of knock it over with the white. And that helps force some of that liquid up beyond the post. And I'll repeat down here. Now, to get the marbling effect, I need a couple areas with the white. And so I'm going to also do the bottom tip. I'm just squirting a little bit of white in the top tip and the bottom tip. Now, don't close your white up yet. You might need a little bit more of that. Next, I'll open my peacock pearl that is already stirred, and I'm going to put this right in between the 2 areas of white. I find that when I do this color combination, which I love, that sometimes the peacock pearl will overwhelm the white, and so that's why I chose to put 2 whites and not as much peacock pearl. Next, you could kind of focus on filling that little area above the post, just like that with your toothpick. Okay, now I'm going to wipe this extra white off my toothpick, and I'm going to start the marbling. So for marbling, all you're doing is dragging one color into another, and this looks a little bit low right here, so I'm going to add a little bit more. You probably don't want it completely level for the marbling technique because when you stick the toothpick in, it kind of tends to raise the level of the liquids, but I like to get it almost all the way full. So I'm just adding a little more white. If you kind of look at your mold from across the top of it, you can see how full it is. So another thing we're going to do is just tap the mold on our work surface, and that helps level it down inside there. And now we're ready to marble. So just take your toothpick and place the tip all the way down into the mold. And first I like to go around the outside edges and make sure that there's no air bubbles trapped. and then I'll just come back around and drag the colors into each other, like so. And then when you like the marbling effect that you have, just pull your toothpick out and wipe it off. Now right there it looks like there's a little gap, but I'm going to show you that that gap will tap back out in just a second. Let's repeat that process over here. Stick the toothpick into the white and just drag it through your peacock pearl. And you don't need to marble a lot because this is a very small shape. And if you marble around and around and around, the colors will kind of mix. And we want to keep those colors separated so that you can actually see each one in the finished piece. Next, I'll go back and tap, 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 and make sure that the liquids in the mold are really nice and flat. If you get a little liquid above on the edge of the mold, you can wipe that away with your fingertip. And then that is ready to be baked in your oven. Next, let's look at the color blocking technique. For this sample, I used the rose gold on top and the silver on the bottom. But again, you feel free to mix and match the colors however you would like. So I'm going to start with the rose gold at the top, and I'm going to kind of push that little post over as I'm squirting, and that just kind of helps drag some of that liquid around past it. And I'm only going to put the rose gold at the very top, maybe the top third, like so. And then I'm going to open up my silver and put that across the bottom. So I always kind of point my liquid toward the wall of the mold and then let it kind of backfill. You can see how it's spreading on its own all the way up to the rose gold. Now you want to check for level. So here, this one, I don't know if you can tell, but it's not quite all the way up to the top of the mold. And these I want to get pretty full, so I'm going to backfill some silver because it looks lower, like so. Now see that little bubble right there? I'll just tap my mold and that bubble is popped now. So that's one method for tapping out air bubbles from the mold. And I always do this. I do it until I can't see any more bubbles come up. Another way to release bubbles from the mold is to use the tip of a toothpick. And I'll show you in one of these empty wells, because what you can do is take that tip and what you're going to do is stick it all the way in. And you want to get that toothpick right in that edge or that corner that's in the mold shape. Now since these are color blocked, we'll just do one color at a time. So I'll come down here in the silver and I'll just kind of angle my toothpick like that. And then I can wipe away the silver from the toothpick, and then I can do the same thing up here with the rose gold. Now if you went ahead and stirred them around together, that would be marbling like we did for the ellipse shape. But I'm trying to keep my colors separate for color blocking, but still make sure I've got really nice edges. So you can just do this method if you would like. And I see a couple more bubbles that worked up, so I'm going to tap it again. And one more time. I feel like they're not quite level, so I'll just add a little bit more. There, now they look more level, and those are ready to go into the oven. This is a neat little animal print technique. It kind of looks like leopard. And the way I did that was to use gold and black and bronze. So first I'm going to open my gold Liquid Sculpey that's already been stirred all the way up, and just aiming it toward that little post, I'm going to fill this teardrop shape almost to full. Not completely full, because believe it or not, those little dots kind of take up some of the room that make the animal print pattern. So I'm not going to go totally level. This one's still a little too low, so I'll add a little bit more. And then I want to use all my techniques for tapping out air bubbles. Since this one so far is a solid color, here's another tip that helps release air bubbles. If you put a finger against the back of the mold and just sort of push the liquid up, you don't want it to run out, but you're kind of stretching the shape inside out. That helps the liquid to settle into all those little corners and releases air bubbles. I like to do that. I like to tap it. And if you want to, you can go all the way around the edge with your toothpick and just really make sure that the liquid is getting all the way down into every little corner. Don't worry if you get a little bit of the liquid outside the boundary of the earring shape. I'll show you how to take care of that later. All right, you'll notice that I always wipe my toothpick off with paper towel. The liquid comes right off of it and you can use it over and over again. Now first, I like to start with the black spots. I take the cap all the way off. First, what I do is I get a little bit of that black down in the cap. And then I take the cap all the way off because I just need something to kind of dip into with the tip of my toothpick to get some of that black. So I'm dipping my toothpick in the cap and just getting a little pile of the liquid, the black liquid on the end of the toothpick. Then what I do is I go right in here and touch my gold. And what you want to do is drop little drips of like 2 or 3 of the little black spots in a section together. And then you can add some random single spots as well. And do that to both pieces. I'm actually touching the surface of the gold, and that helps pull the black drip down off of my toothpick. And if you can keep these random in shape, it'll look more natural. So don't worry if they're not the same shape. In fact, it'll look better if they're not all the same size and shape. Now I want to set my black cap aside, and I'm just going to lay it on a paper towel because I may not be done with it. I might want to add a little bit more. I'm wiping off my toothpick, and then I'm going to do the same thing with my bronze color. I'm going to tap a little bit of the bronze down into the cap and then open it all the way up. And this has already been stirred. And see, there's just a little puddle of the color in the cap there that you can just dip into. Now these dots go in the middle of your black sets of dots. So I'm just aiming my toothpick with some of that drippy bronze right toward the middle of each section or area. And what I want ideally is for the bronze to kind of spread and merge with those little black dots. And you can go back in and make them bigger so they merge better. You can make just some random singles as well. But make sure you get some of that bronze in the middle of each of those. Now this could also look cool with some of the other colors that come in the Liquid Sculpey party pack. You could use silver and white and black, or you could use silver and gold. You could mix it up so that you can make a unique animal print pattern that you like best. Now if you want to go back and add more black, you can, or you can bake it just like that, and that is ready to go in the oven. Now our silicone molds are filled and ready to go in the oven. They need to be baked so that we have made our strong and lightweight jewelry pieces. So what I have here is a baking tray that can go into my home oven, and I want to show you how I've prepared that. This is a tip that I like to do in my home. It's a regular baking tray, and I like to line it with a dish towel that is damp. So I took a dish towel and I just got it as wet as I possibly could. I wrung out all the excess water, and I've got it laying here super flat. Make sure you can see this. Now I want to make sure I can put as many molds on this one tray as long as they all lay perfectly flat. That's the only stipulation. Just keep them nice and level. As the molds bake, The water from the dish towel will keep the mold sort of insulated and help the liquid inside the mold to bake super evenly, which will create really nice flat jewelry pieces. When your mold comes out of the oven, you want to make sure it's completely cool before you handle it. The earring pieces come out really easily because the mold is so flexy. Just flex the mold and push it right out. Now this one has a little bit of inconsistency around the edge, and I let the liquid get over the little post hole a little bit. So I'd like to show you how to clean that up. You can just use your toothpick to push the post hole clean and then wipe that little bit of excess Liquid Sculpey away, or just pull it off with your fingernails. And around the edge, if you happen to get a little rim around the edge, you can just simply trim that with some craft scissors. Just lay your scissors right on the edge, on that flat edge, and then take the excess off. This can happen if your mold got jiggled a little bit, or if someone bumped you. You might just get a little excess going over the edge, but it's so easy to fix. All right, now that piece is ready for jewelry findings. And jewelry findings are just the pieces of hardware that we use to turn any type of beads or handmade pieces into jewelry. So this is the larger jump ring that comes in the kit. What you want to do is just grab it with the pliers. And what I have is the opening of the jump ring right here close to the pliers, and then I'll use my fingernail on the other side of the opening. I'll pull the pliers toward me and just put pressure on the jump ring with my fingernail to open it. And that is the correct way for opening jump rings. You don't ever want to stretch them open, you always want to twist them open. Then you can just use the pliers and your fingers to get it right through the hole. Then I'll thread this little bitty jump ring onto the larger one. And then I'll close the larger jump ring in the same manner. I've got my finger as pressure on one side of the jump ring and the pliers as pressure on the other side. And then when you close a jump ring, you want to just make sure the two sides of the opening meet together so that they just touch and they put pressure on each other right at the gap. Next, we want to add our ear wire. Now the purpose of this tiny jump ring at the top is to change the orientation of the art piece. So for example, if I just went ahead and put the ear wire on the larger jump ring, the earring wouldn't be hanging the right direction. So each time you add a jump ring, you change the direction by 90 degrees, and that makes it so that you can make the earrings hang exactly how you want them to. I've got the ear wire on the smaller piece, and then I'll just close it up like that. And now you can see that we have two perfectly positioned marble earrings. And then you would want to repeat this exact same process for the color blocking and for the animal print earrings as well.